Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, a deep dive on Microsoft Viva Goals. And thank you so much for joining our webinar this morning. Hopefully, you've all come to find out more about Viva Goals and objectives and key results and how it can help your organization align to the strategy and things that you want to achieve. If you do have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer those at the end. We'll have a little bit of time for questions. So just to kick off, before we start, a quick introduction to your speaker for today. My name is Kat Beedim, and I'm a collaboration and employee experience architect. I'm also a Microsoft 365 MVP. What that means is I spend a lot of my spare time blogging about Viva, speaking at conferences, so a little bit of a nerd when it comes to some of the tooling in Microsoft Viva. And I work for an organization called CPS, and we deliver these types of webinars all about Microsoft Viva. We're also a Microsoft partner, which means that we can help enable Microsoft Viva for your organization as well. So to start, before we dive into objectives and key results and Viva Goals and how that all kind of fits together, I do have to start with a little bit of context setting. We do have to, in these types of sessions, just to kind of understand exactly why we're here, why we're talking about Viva Goals. So I wanted to talk briefly about how the workplace is shifting. Now, one of the things that Microsoft is hearing is that employees at large are changing how they think about work. And they're thinking about not only where and why, but where and when, but also the more fundamental question of why. Now, we can't underestimate the changes every worker has undergone in this pandemic, because we've had a huge shift in the workspace and worker expectations have changed. So Microsoft, basically they run what's called a work trend index. And that is where they survey about 20,000 information workers and frontline workers and a whole bunch of leadership as well from, I think it's about 13 different countries. So what they basically do is spend a lot of their time with this work trend index, surveying, interviewing, and basically gathering research on how people are working. And that's what they kind of use to influence the technology that they begin to invest in and build. And from that work trend index, Microsoft have seen that people are no longer choosing a job solely based on the location of it and the paycheck. Employees are now looking for employers to provide a sense of purpose, meaning, that they're part of something bigger, and really see how, what they've come to work to do every single day ladders up to the bigger goals and organizational mission. And with hybrid work, we've only got 50% of businesses that are planning to go back fully in person in the next, couple of years. We really need to figure out how to meet these really, really important employee needs. The need for purpose and meaning at work, not just so we feel good, but because it drives business results as well. We also need to make sure that those business results needed by the organization are clear and they're not just to the top executives, but they're to everyone. And the challenges of translating that strategy into execution is sometimes quite difficult. The MIT looked at survey data from hundreds of large enterprise companies, and they found that while 97% of senior leaders say that they understand a company's strategic priorities, so 97% of leaders are saying, yes, we know exactly what we're trying to achieve, we know our strategy, we know what we're trying to do. Actually, only 28% of them could name the company's top 3 goals. So that's leadership who, have a view that, yes, I understand what we're doing, but actually don't. And we can't name the top 3 goals. And you can imagine how that compounds as you move further away from the executive team. In that Microsoft Work Trend Index, Microsoft found that only 13% of frontline managers understand how their work contributes to the company strategy. And that disconnect is costing the business every single day. And unfortunately, the current climate only makes things a little bit more difficult. But we have a solution to these challenges. The solution is a new approach and a new category of technology solutions. And that new category of technology solutions is what we call an employee experience platform, or an EXP. Now, an employee experience platform is a digital platform that puts people at the center, and it brings in systems of work with systems of support into that integrated employee experience. It provides people with resources, support, everything that they need to succeed and thrive, no matter what their location is. At the core of an employee experience platform is the digital fabric, so the natural productivity and collaboration workspaces where employees spend their time. So what we're talking about there is Microsoft Teams. So the idea is that in Microsoft Teams, that's where people are spending a lot of their time doing their day-to-day work. What we want to do is we want to allow people to use Teams to get insights on well-being. So we don't want our employees to be burnt out. We don't want them to be physically and mentally, ill with working too hard and too late. We want people to learn and grow and build skills, and that means they'll stay at the company longer if they feel like they are improving. We also want people to have purpose and alignment. We want people to understand why they're doing what they're doing. We want to communicate our culture. We want to share, news. We want to build communities with our organization. And we want employees to be able to share knowledge and expertise and find information out and break down those kind of knowledge silos. So we want to achieve all of these things in one tool, which is Microsoft Teams. And that's really the employee experience platform. It's bringing together all of these different things, so that are themed around employee experience, put it into one place for the employee to be able to use and access and improve themselves while they're working day to day. So what is that employee experience platform? Well, the employee experience platform is Microsoft Viva. And today we are focusing on one aspect of Microsoft Viva, but I did just want to explain a little bit about what Viva is in case there are people who don't know. So Microsoft Viva is the employee experience platform that I was talking about. The idea behind Viva is that we have, it's about 9 different applications, and don't worry, we don't expect you to use all 9, but it's about 9 different applications, and each of these applications can be accessed via Teams, so Microsoft Teams, and they each do different things, but it's all surrounding that employee experience theme. So we have apps in here, you can see some examples. We've got Viva Engage. That's all about, that used to be Yammer. So it's bringing Yammer into Teams, allowing people to share information and build communities and create a bit of culture within the organization. We have Viva Insights, which allows me to have tips and tricks on building better work habits. It allows managers to see if their team are burnt out or working late or, and trying to fix that. We have Viva Topics, which is all about sharing knowledge and information, and Viva Learning, which is a training app that you have in Microsoft Teams where you have courses from Microsoft and LinkedIn. So we have all of these apps that do different things, and they're all focused on improving the employee experience, keeping employees happy, which also helps with our employee attrition rate as well. As we know, we had the Great Resignation, and what we're keen to do is keep employees happy, engaged, and remaining with us for longer. So that is Microsoft Viva. It's lots of different applications. They're all accessed through Teams. You can use some of them, all of them. It's totally up to you and what fits in with your organization. Some of them you will already have in your Microsoft 365 licensing. Some of them require an additional license. So I'm happy to share information on that. I can share a link in the chat on Viva licensing, but some of the stuff you already have access to now, which is great. Now, the one that we're going to focus on today is Viva Goals. So this is where we're fitting in the purpose kind of category. So this is Viva Goals. We want people to be aligned with what we're trying to do as an organization. So fix some of those challenges that I mentioned at the beginning, where I said there's leaders and there's frontline workers and there's managers who don't actually know the goals of the organization and the strategy. The idea behind Viva Goals is to make sure that everyone from leadership down to individual contributor understands exactly what we're trying to do as an organization, and we're all rowing in the same direction. So everything that we're working towards is aligned to our organization strategy. Now, we are going to be showing you Viva Goals today, but before we show you Viva Goals, it is very important that I explain a framework with you, which is called OKRs. Now, OKRs is really what Viva Goals is built on. It's built on this framework. And if we just go into Viva Goals and start looking at stuff, it's not going to really make much sense. The first port of call when it comes to Viva Goals, excuse me, I just need to cough. A bit of a spring cold coming on. The idea behind Viva Goals is this methodology. It's objectives and key results, OKRs. It stands for objectives and key results. OKRs are a proven goal-setting framework for creating alignment, focus, and building a highly productive and engaged work culture to drive your business outcomes. So if we take a look at this pyramid, I was going to call it a triangle then. So if we take a look at this pyramid, what you can see is how objectives and key results, how OKRs fit in with what you're trying to do. So you will have, as an organization, hopefully, you will have a mission and you will have values and culture, and you'll have some strategic priorities that align with that. So your values might be to deliver, great customer service, and that aligns with a strategy of always delivering the best customer service to our customers. It could be we want to ensure that our, we're delivering the best service for students to be able to learn and grow. We want to make sure that we have an inclusive workplace. We want to make sure our employees are happy and engaged, and we have a diverse workforce. All of these kind of very high level like culture and values that organizations typically have. We want to be responsive. We want to have experts in our field, and all of these kind of really big priorities that organizations have. The idea behind objectives and key results is to actually turn those very high level priorities and strategies into actual objectives and things that we need to achieve, and cascade that down to departments. So when departments are working on building a promotional material for a webinar, for example, how does that align with our values and strategy? And Viva Goals allows you to see that as an employee. But the point that I'm making here is that what we first have to do is make sure that we have created objectives and key results to make sure that Viva Goals works, to surface that information in Viva Goals. So we have our values and culture, which turn into our kind of strategic priorities. What are we trying to do as an organization? What we then want to do is go a layer below that and put in objectives. So delivering that customer service, delivering support for our students, being, the most responsive Microsoft partner in the ecosystem, or whatever it may be. From those objectives, what we want to do is then build some key results underneath. So our key results are really the proof of how we're going to achieve our objectives. So if we want to deliver the best customer service, how are we going to do that? What's the proof? How are we proving that we've done the best customer service? How do we know that? Well, we need to build out some key results. So these are quantifiable measurements. So we are going to deliver the best customer service, and we're going to do that by, increasing the amount of satisfaction results that we have from our customer service surveys, for example. We want to make sure that we have 80% of our customers are happy. It's a number. It's proving that we're actually delivering good customer service. Below that, we have key initiatives and projects. So we have the how we're going to do it, the activities. So we're going to deliver the best customer service. We're going to do that by increasing our satisfaction results to 80%. And we're going to do that by implementing these initiatives. We're going to put in a new system so our, agents can respond quicker. We're going to, an X, Y, and Z. The activities, the projects, the things that we're doing to align with this objective. So that's what we really want to nail first before you start using Viva Goals. In terms of how you would build out your objectives and key results, ideally your objective, it wants to be a goal for the company, individual, or team. Usually we'd start with a company objective. So you would have a company objective that is a qualitative or aspirational goal, something that you want to achieve. And we recommend having 3 to 5 objectives to prioritize. Having too many objectives means that goals are less likely to be achieved. So starting with 3 to 5 is always ideal. We then have our key results underneath those objectives. So you could have, 3 to 5 objectives, And then under each objective, you could have 3 key results, for example. And the key results are the measurable outcome that contribute to the achievement of an objective. So when planning for an objective and meeting the goals, the key results are the way that we know how we get there. Then we have our key initiatives, which are the core activities that take place to achieve the objective. So projects that can help you get closer to achieving the results that we are looking for. So I'm going to share, we'll make these slides available because there's some more information on kind of how to write an objective. And obviously I don't want to spend the whole time talking about OKRs today. I do want to show you the tool itself. But you really want to make sure that you're creating some very clear inspirational objectives that stretch across the organization. You really want to limit it to a maximum of 5, and you do want goals that are going to hit different departments. So creating an inclusive and diverse workforce that would hit across HR, it could hit across marketing, it can hit across service delivery, all of these different areas. When it comes to key results, you want measurable results. So you can have 3 to 5 key results per objective. You really want a measurable key result. So what we mean there is you want to have a number and a time frame. We're going to improve our customer service satisfaction results to 80% by the end of Q2, as an example. And then your key initiatives and projects. And these, you don't have to have these, but these are more if you want to track down the projects that you're doing that help with your key result and help with your objective. And the key initiatives and projects is interesting because that's really where you can integrate with other tools as well, like Project or Planner, to help you track the objectives. An example of a objective and key result, I've talked about the customer service one, but here is a marketing focused one. So an objective here is improve our marketing funnel to become the vendor of choice in the industry. Underneath, you'll see that we actually have 3 key results. And the key results are specific, quantifiable. So we want to execute 6 targeted lead campaigns by Q1, acquire 950 new marketing qualified leads by Q1, drive $10 million, and you get the idea. So it's a number and a time frame ideally. Some key results, are we need to just complete this action. We need to complete this audit. We need to put this mechanism in place or, something like that. But ideally, you want to have something measurable. So we can actually say, did we improve our marketing funnel? Are we the vendor of choice? How do we know that? Well, we know that because we've done these 3 key results. Now, you can have company-wide and department-wide objectives and key results. So you can see an example here. We have a company level objective. So my organization wants to build a world-class company culture. We want to attract and retain the best employees. In order to prove that we're doing that, we want to reduce our attrition rates of our employees from 25% to 10%. We want to keep our employees for longer. The initiative that we're running is that we've actually said as an organization, we're going to increase diversity through recruitment. We're going to recruit at universities in 3 new locations. So that's the project initiative, the activity, the thing that we're doing. So who's going to do that? Well, HR. HR are going to be have an objective that aligns with what we're trying to do. So HR are launching a diversity and inclusion program, great, and that fits in with our company culture to attract and retain best employees. How are they going to prove that they've done that? Well, we're going to score 80% or above on our audit. We're going to increase company diversity by 10% and so on. We've got some really good key results in there. Human resources, HR will have some key projects to align with that. So they're going to hire a new director, they're going to do research, they're going to select some partners to work with, and all of these different projects and initiatives that are going to help them actively achieve their goal. But the idea here is that HR can see, okay, as a department lead, I'm going to, the plan for our quarter or our 12 months is that we're going to launch a diversity inclusion program. And me as a HR manager can look and see, does that align with our company objectives? Yes, it does. And I can kind of link that together and make sure that we're working towards the same thing. So we have company level objectives, which then filter down into department level objectives as well. So how are the departments going to come together to achieve this objective? Now, in terms of timeframes, you can create objectives that last a quarter, 12 months, or a custom date as well. So if you've got a 6-month objective that you want to achieve, you can add that in there. But there are some bigger objectives that might last years as well. So it does, the tool and the methodology does cater to different timeframes of when you're trying to achieve something. All right, so how do you start with OKRs? Well, our recommendation would be to start with your executive leadership. We need to make sure that they understand exactly the benefits of objectives and key results, and I'm going to talk about some of the benefits towards the end. But we want to showcase the benefits to leadership, and we need them to give us the company objectives, right? We need to do an exercise with them to say, okay, our organization, we want to deliver a great service, want to be inclusive, we want to expand into these new markets, but let's turn those into company objectives. Let's get some key results behind them. So then our departments can then start to put together their plans and make sure they align with what the company is trying to achieve. And from there, you then want to build some OKR champions. Champions are going to be, individuals, department heads, people who are going to engage with the stakeholders and the leadership, people who are going to help with training and help with awareness, because it's a new change, it's a new methodology, and it's a new technology. So you want to make sure that we've got a change program in place. And what we then want to do is develop and refine OKRs. OKRs should be revisited on a weekly basis is our recommendations, and they're ongoing. So we're constantly creating objectives, we're completing and closing them off, but then we are also creating new ones as well, because we're constantly looking to grow. So it's an ever-evolving methodology, an ever-evolving tool. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at how OKRs fit into Viva Goals and what is Viva Goals. So Viva Goals is one of the apps as part of the Microsoft Viva suite. It's one of the apps in the employee experience platform. And it is a solution that allows you to surface these objectives and key results that we've spent a lot of time, building out and creating. And we're putting those in a tool so everyone in the organization can view those objectives and those key results. So the idea behind Viva Goals is that we've created these objectives as a leadership team. Our department heads have gone in and they've seen it and they've created their kind of objectives, things that they're going to achieve. How do we show the organization that? Well, we can show them using Viva Goals. So I'm just going to hop over to my Microsoft Teams environment. Now I'm logged in a browser, but of course this will work on the desktop and mobile versions. And in here, what you can see is I have Microsoft Viva Goals. On the left-hand side in my taskbar, I've got the Viva Goals app. Now, what you will have to do is purchase a Viva Goals license to be able to see this. So it doesn't come as part of Microsoft 365. There is a license, but there are some trials available. So get in contact. I'll show you the contact details later on today if you wanted to find out if you're eligible for a free trial. But the Viva Goals app, once we kind of turn it on as an organization, I can click on it and I can see it in here. And this is what the tool looks like. You can also access this via a browser. So this is the browser version. If you didn't want to access it through Teams, it works in exactly the same way. I just like looking at it through Microsoft Teams because the idea is that it's in the place where I'm doing most of my work. So from here, I just want to focus on the left-hand side. You'll see I've got 3 levels of OKRs, or 3 levels of views. So we have Contoso Electronics. This is the name of my organization. So these are my company organization OKRs. When I click on marketing OKRs, this is my department. So I can see my department objectives. Then I can see my OKRs. So these are ones that I have been assigned. I am the owner of the OKR. It's my responsibility to keep up to date with these and so on. And you'll notice that I am doing a demo of this, so I own all of them. But ideally, you will have different people from different departments owning their own objectives. Let's start with the organizational. So in here, I can see I've got 3 objectives. I want to publicly launch Mark 8, which in this example is just a new product. I want to launch this new product to establish industry leadership. I want to expand into a Latin market, and I want to ensure employees come to work happy and engaged. Those are the 3 objectives that I've chosen as an organization that we're going to start with. These objectives could be a year long, they could be a quarter long, it's up to you. But in here, what you'll see is I have a bit of information about each objective. I've got the name of the objective, the title, and I also have the owner, which is Patty, who's a member of the leadership team. And I can see the team is Contoso, so I can see it's an organizational objective. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. What I can also see is the progress. I can see that we are on track. So what we're doing here is we're actually measuring if we're achieving this objective or not. And that's something that Viva Goals allows you to do. We build it as a framework, we build out the objectives. So we had to sit there with leadership and talk about what we're trying to do. Great, we're trying to publicly launch this new product. But our key results and the tool allow us to actually measure to see if we're on track. So let's take a look at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this objective. And you will see that I actually have 3 key results, and I know they're key results because of the little purple icon here. I have 3 key results, which say I'm going to achieve 10,000 pre-orders, I'm going to improve our manufacturing efficiency, and I'm going to generate substantial interest from press. And what you will see for these key results, these are actually assigned to different parts of the business. So marketing are going to help me achieve 10,000 pre-orders. Product are going to improve our manufacturing efficiency. Marketing, again, they're going to be in charge of generating the leads and press and influencers. So you can see that this objective is fitting across multiple departments. And multiple departments have a bit of ownership over what we're trying to achieve. What I can also have underneath the objective is I have another objective in here, which is a departmental objective. I can see that it's an objective because it's got the little blue icon next to it, and it says we want to create massive marketing momentum for the launch. This is assigned to marketing, and underneath here I have my own set of key results in marketing to help us achieve this massive marketing momentum. Excuse me. So let's focus on the company-wide objective. So this one is Contoso Electronics, and what this is doing, this kind of tracking, is saying, okay, so based on these key results, are we on track? Yes, and it's going to roll up all of these kind of the status and progress on this into here. So this kind of objective is saying, based on all of the key results, we're on track, and overall, this is the percentage that we're on track to. What I can also do from here, the recommendation to make sure we're on track and to kind of input that kind of progress to say, are we doing it, are we not? The recommendation is to check in on a weekly basis. So what I mean by check in is if we're looking to achieve 10,000 pre-orders, this is assigned to the marketing team, and the owner of this is Miriam. So Miriam will be the person who's going to be checking in on a weekly basis. Now, if Miriam's ready to check in, all she'll do is click this little check-in icon. It will open up a panel on the right-hand side. And from here, I can manually go in and put in the pre-orders that we have. So I can say, right, so the target is 10,000. You know, this is what we're trying to achieve. So how far are we? Well, we've got 3,000. And you'll see the status automatically changes to say that we're on track. If I was to say 0, it would put it at risk because we're 0 when we should have something in there by now. So let's change that to 3,000. So I've said, right, okay, so our system is saying that we've got 3,000 orders. That's great. Do I want to put some notes? So pre-orders going well, and I'm going to check in. So that's going to update the results for me, and it's going to update the objective overall because we've increased the amount of pre-sales or pre-orders that we have. Now, to make life a little bit easier, so we want to check in on a weekly basis, and ideally you'll have different people in different departments doing this. We want to check in on a weekly basis to make sure that we are on track. But I don't want to have to manually put in numbers every week. So what we can actually do is integrate these with other systems that we use to track results. For example, if I just go into this key result and I edit it, so I'm just going to edit it. What we can do is we can put in a specific metric. So I can say our target is 10,000. We can add phase targets in there as well if it's a long-term key result. You'll be able to see in here, I have progress. So this is where we're kind of tracking the progress of our key result. At the moment, I'm manually adding in the results. I'm manually going in every week and adding 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and however much we increase. But what I could actually do is add data from a data source, and it will automatically add in the key results for me. So I don't have to sit there and manually add in the results. So in here, what I could do is I could say, what tool are we using to track the result or the pre-orders that we have? It might be a finance system. It might be Dynamics 365, for example. It might be HubSpot for marketing to manage clicks. It might be SQL. And there's a whole bunch of options in here you can see for third-party integrations. Soon there will be Microsoft Project as well, which will be available by the end of May. But I can go ahead and I can say, right, we're going to add, Dynamics 365. It's going to ask me to sign in, choose the environment, choose what account or choose what, product or opportunity, and it will automatically scan every hour and it will sync every hour and automatically update the key results for you. So I don't have to sit there and manually do it. And you have a whole bunch of options in here, and they are adding a lot more to it as well. So you'll see a lot more options in here for third-party data sources. So I'm going to keep that at manual, but ideally you do want to automatically update it. And you'll see there's Power BI in there. There is Excel, but we don't recommend using Excel because that is still a little bit manual. So if you're plugging information into Excel, you can link it to Viva Goals, so you don't have to do it twice. But yeah, ideally you want to link it to an existing system that you're using. So in here, I have my key results as an organization. I can integrate with third-party systems, so I can actually kind of, see that we're on track. Even if I add a system and integrate it and it automatically adds the key results for me, you still want to check in. So we still do want to do that weekly check-in and at least add in notes, because the idea behind it is that we're actively working towards achieving this goal. And so we do need to make sure that we are, looking at it, updating it, and having the note option in there allows people to say, are we at risk? Why? And ask the right questions. What are the blockers? Why are we not achieving this? If we are achieving it, great, what's working well? And adding those notes. So it gives you that kind of opportunity to take stock. So it is still recommended to check in, and you can do a bulk check-in as well if you wanted to. So that was my organizational objective, but if I wanted to, I could view it from a departmental objective. So if I go to marketing on the left-hand side, in here, you can see that I have some key results and some objectives that are assigned to marketing. So this is my department, and I can see that we have to get these, 150 backlinks. We have to have the big convo. So this one's not an example of not a very good objective. So I don't know who's put that in there. But there's a bad objective. It doesn't really make much sense, and I don't really understand. It's not clear and inspirational. But this one is create that massive marketing momentum for the launch. And I can drop that down and I can check in. I'm the owner of this, and you can see that these key results split between customer service and customer experience and marketing. So we're all kind of working together, but we're working together for the same goal. And the tool really just gives me that visibility. But what I can do is I can go ahead and check in my objective, and I can see, okay, how are we tracking from our key results? How are customer experience and the marketing team actually doing towards it? And I can get an overall view. We're halfway there. We are on track. I'm going to add a note just to update what we're doing. What we can also do is if my manager then says, okay, Megan, how are we getting on, or maybe the board or leadership, how are we getting on with that objective? Are we creating that massive marketing momentum? What I can do is I can actually choose to share this with my boss or leadership team or whoever it may be. So I can actually search for, let's choose Adele in this example. Here is an update on the objective, add a little note, and I can go ahead and I can share that with Adele directly, and then she'll receive a notification with a link that will allow her to view that objective. I can also copy the link and I can send that in a Teams chat if I want to, and Adele will be able to click on it and she'll be able to access that objective. So it's a really easy way to share updates as well. How are you getting on with this? All great. Well, I could just share the objective with you. What I also have is my OKRs. So an individual can see if they've been assigned, and not necessarily everyone's in the organization is going to be assigned an objective, but the idea behind it is there will be objectives that I might need to go in and update, and I can see exactly what I'm trying to achieve and how that aligns with my organization. So I can see from here, I need to grow the pipeline. What else do I need to do? I need to increase the leads. I need to grow, upsell, revenue. These are the things that I need to achieve, and they align with what the company is trying to do. So the idea behind it is visibility. Everyone's working towards the same thing, but it also gives people the ability to say no. So if somebody says, "Oh, Megan, can you work on this big project?" Well, it doesn't. I'm trying to grow the pipeline at the moment, and I'm trying to achieve these goals, and they align with the company strategy. So no, this is the priority, and it gives people the power to do that. We can change the views. So if I wanted to just look at the organizational objectives, which split across lots of different departments and lots of different individuals, what I can actually do is choose to view in a different way. Now, bear with me because my button's disappeared. Why has it disappeared? Let me refresh, see if it comes back. There we go. So I can choose to view in a different way. So I can view as a chart. So I can see here are the 3 objectives. This one, if I click on this objective, I can see underneath the results, the key results, and my kind of marketing objectives in here. And I can see exactly how that aligns to the company objective. So it's that idea of that visibility. Now, a couple of other things when it comes to objectives and key results. We do have a thing called dashboards. So if I wanted to speak to my board and the board are checking in and they're saying, look, we've got a board meeting, we want to find out how we're doing with our objectives that we set for this year. What we can do is create a dashboard from Viva Goals, which will automatically create like a presentation for me that I can show to the board. And it saves you having to do a PowerPoint. So if I go to dashboards on the top here, you'll see I've already got one that I've created earlier. But this allows me to present content. And in here, I've chosen to provide a bit of company overview. So I've just added in notes in here. Our mission, so we want to lead, do inspirational customer satisfaction. We want to have the inclusive work culture, all of these kind of very high level things. Okay, so are we actually doing this mission and achieving these goals? Well, yes, we are. So I can say that we're on track. Here's how we're on track, over time compared to last year or last quarter. I can add notes on the left-hand side with progress updates and what we're doing and key learnings. And I can customize this to choose which objectives do I want to kind of get a report on, which key results. Do I want to see any more detail? You can kind of create this widget yourself, but it filters it through and it shows you kind of overall view in there for me. And we were talking to our commercial director at CPS, and he said that he uses this, but he does just screenshot this and put it into a PowerPoint. So, you can't teach old dog new tricks, but it's still using the tool. And this has pulled the data for him to be able to use it, but he still does prefer a PowerPoint. So that's fine as well. If you wanted to do that. Viva Goals will provide you with some analytics as well. So I do have the ability to see the adoption of the tool. So I can see in my organization, I'm very small. I only have 22 total users. I have, quite a lot of objectives because it's a demonstration account. So ideally you'll have like 5 company level ones in there. But I also have the engagement, so I can see which, are users actually using it? Are they checking in? what's the activity like? Oh, we're creating OKRs, we're commenting, we're closing, we're doing check-ins. What's the alignment? What's the efficiency? Are we automating our OKRs? Are we using the tool properly? So as well as kind of implementing this, creating objectives, creating key results, putting them into the tool and allowing departments to then go ahead and create their own objectives that align with what we're trying to achieve, we can actually take stock and think, okay, is this tool actually making a difference? And this is quite useful, especially if you're running things like pilots to trial out Viva Goals. This gives you the opportunity to look at that usage from the tool itself. Now, I did just want to mention a couple of other things in terms of this kind of area here. So you can change your view of Viva Goals. So I've got a specific view because I'm in marketing. So I've got my organizational objectives, I've got my marketing objectives and then my own objectives, but I can create different views where I can look at, different teams. So this is Patty's team, for example, and you'll see a whole bunch of different objectives and key results for Patty. Again, the idea is that you do keep it open, but I can create a view so I can make sure that what I'm looking at is just specific to me. And if I did want to, I could come in and look at all the objectives in my organization, and you can see which team they're assigned to, how they link in with the company level objective, and you can export to Excel if you really want to. So you do have that option there, so you don't have to use the tool. You can export to Excel if you really need to. And in terms of adding in lots and lots of objectives and key results, you can bulk import into the tool as well, so you don't have to manually sit there and kind of type those out. I realized I did want to show you actually how do you add objectives. It's very easy. You just click add objective on the top right. You type in your objective. You can align it to either the organizational main objective. So we're going to create new product to, enhance our reputation. Oh, spelling's very good in this. So we want to create a new product that has a reputation. That's aligned to a company level objective, which is this publicly launch, one that we're doing. We're going to add an owner. So this is the person who's going to check in. Then we're going to assign it to a team. So we're going to say this is the product team. And when we're going to change the time period, we're going to say it's annual. So we're going to do this over a year. And then we're going to hit create. And that will create that new objective for us. What I can then do, so you'll see it's created the objective that aligns to this particular company level objective. What we can do from there is click on this little kind of org chart button here, and I can add a key result, I can add projects, or I can add initiatives and things that we're doing to actually achieve this new product. So when I add a key result, I can see increase product sales by 20% in Q2. I can edit the progress. So here I can see I want to automatically upload from a data source. So I want to do it from Asana or Dynamics or whatever tool I want to do. And then I can go ahead and I can create that. So it's very easy to go in, create the objectives, create the key results. But the idea behind it is you want to get that framework done properly. Because if you create an objective that is create new product, it doesn't really say anything. It doesn't really say, what we're trying to do, or it's not inspirational. It doesn't kind of, it's not a, yes, we're excited to try and do this because it's going to improve us. So getting those objectives nailed is really important. And then getting people in the organization to also understand objectives and key results is a kind of process in itself as well. So we want to do communication, we want to do training. Using Viva Goals as a tool itself is fine, but it's the framework behind it that will make it or break it. So that's just something to keep in mind there. But hopefully that gives you an overview of Viva Goals and objectives and key results, a very quick overview I might add. But I did just want to let you know about some benefits. So if you are trying to kind of get a business case for Viva Goals, the whole idea behind it is that OKRs and Viva Goals drives alignment. So we ensure that everybody understands how their work ladders up to a higher level, strategic priorities, and the entire organization is rowing in the same direction. It gives focus. So again, we've got 3 to 5 OKRs, and And again, it avoids the trap of everything is important, so nothing is important. So people have that power to say no, and they can prioritize their work effectively. Transparency is key. So visibility on desired outcomes, it just allows, for clear accountability. It helps build trust. It fosters, cross-team collaboration. And it's really important to have early and frequent visibility into how we're tracking against our goals to make sure that teams, they're making data-driven decisions when it comes to adjusting our strategy. And of course, in a world where things can change drastically overnight, as we have found from the last few years, we can adapt. So we can change our objectives. We can add more, we can remove more, we can extend them if we need to into different timelines. It allows for that kind of quick change when it comes to our strategy. And then finally, growth. The OKR framework encourages our teams to set their OKRs aspirationally, having that kind of stretch target. It allows people to think outside the box, achieve more, and again, achieve more the things that we're set out to do. So these values, that's why it's really been core to why OKRs, they've worked for decades. OKRs have been around since about the 50s, so it's not a new concept. And we found that the framework is more impactful now than ever. So hopefully that kind of clarifies some benefits of using the framework. So where do you go from here? Now that you've found out what objectives and key results are, and you found out what Viva Goals is, and had a look at the tool very quickly, how can we help? Well, at CPS, this is what we do on a regular basis. We deliver OKRs and Viva to organizations around the globe. So if you did want to get some support and help with how do you implement Viva Goals in your organization, please reach out to us. We will have some colleagues, following up from this webinar just to see if you did want to have a further conversation. But we can help with employee experience discovery workshops, which in some cases are fully funded by Microsoft. So let us know if you want to check eligibility on that, because you could get a free workshop. And that explores all of Viva, it's not just Viva Goals. There are pilots available. Again, some of those are funded by Microsoft. So please let us know if you want to check if you're eligible for that. And we can run proof of concepts as well. So you want to trial it out. We want to see if it's going to make an impact and work, which helps you build a business case to get it rolled out in the entire organization. And of course, we can go into Centre of Excellences for employee experience and enable any of the tools as well. So please let us know if you want us to check for any funding or any next steps on Microsoft Viva and Viva Goals. And with that, I wanted to just end with a thank you very much for sticking in and listening. I hope it's been a useful session. I will hold on for another minute or so to see if there are any questions in the chat. Again, please reach out if you do need any support with Microsoft Viva. But thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions in the chat, so I'll end the session there. But thank you very much again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.